She loved children, and she really would love that children set off some balloons for her because she felt like the children were scared of her a lot.
When she was 27 years old, Moore was attacked in the middle of a service at East 2nd Street Christian Church. Another woman threw drain cleaner all over her for allegedly singing off-key in a previous choir rehearsal. She suffered from severe burn wounds and scarring on 95% of her body.
She liked beauty of life. Even though she was burned with the acid, she never wanted people to see her from the burnt part of her. She wanted them to see her from the inside out, the beautiful part of her.
The part of Demetrius that never gave up her singing. The part that helped her younger siblings learn right from wrong. And the part of her that never believed the world to be an ugly place, even after all she had been through.
She always wanted people to know that she loved them and that she loved us. She always treated people fairly, and she didn't want anybody to have a bad day at all.
In Lexington.
Until we meet again.
Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
In 1993, 2 years after Moore's attack, Naomi Parker pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 20 years in prison.